Hello, I'm Jay Muller and I am the director of Recreation. Recreation was founded in 1976 and since then has provided over 11,000 concerts in all 50 of the United States. Now, most of those programs have been presented in VA medical centers and state veterans homes in honor of the men and women who have founded our freedom. The young people of the group have been cited by the Freedoms Foundation at Valley Forge as America's ambassadors to hospitalized veterans for providing the only program of nationally coordinated therapeutic entertainment for almost 40 years. Now, people often ask, how did Recreation get started? How does all this work? Where did the kids come from? And things like that. Well, since we're celebrating our 40th anniversary, we thought we'd tell you. And since it's a special occasion, we thought we'd let you in on a few secrets along the way. Recreation was founded by Hugh Brooks in 1976. Mr. Brooks at that time was a professor in Parks and Recreation at the Pennsylvania State University. He realized with his family that a lot of folks who are in isolated situations like those in nursing homes or long-term care facilities don't have the access to live professional entertainment. Concerned, he, his wife, and daughter founded Recreation. Auditions were held, entertainers were enlisted, and Recreation began those first institutional performances in and around Pennsylvania. The group even sang for America's bicentennial in Washington, D.C. Quite an event. Something else happened that summer, though. The group started singing in the Pennsylvania State Park system. The general public got a taste of the Recreation combination of youth, music, patriotism, and it really caught on. Now, interestingly enough, Recreation was only supposed to last the first summer of 1976. But after those public performances, the demand became so great that another group was structured for the fall semester at Penn State, and then another summer group, and then another fall group. For the next 5 years, the casts of Recreation were drawn from the Penn State student body. The members of the group were all full-time students, endeavoring in their studies by day and performing around the state and nation on nights and weekends. Now, Recreation was truly a family affair. While Hugh took care of the directing duties, his wife Carolyn took care of costumes and choreography. Eventually, their daughter Katie became the full-time choreographer, and family friends Sam and Joni Patterson came on to help with the administrative part of implementing a mission that would reach so many people. The Pattersons stayed with the Brooks for their entire tenure of Recreation, over 17 years. All of these folks remain true to the mission, providing counsel, friendship, and enthusiasm. One big family. In 1977, Recreation was asked to sing for the USO, and that's how VA medical centers first got added to our schedule. Recreation soon became a banner group for the USO, so much so, in fact, that when the program was going to be disbanded in 1982, Washington called Hugh and Recreation to see if we would step through the door of service and make the program work. And of course, by make it work, Washington meant pay for it. Hugh and Carolyn left the security of their teaching jobs to work full-time in mission and service. Now, consider, this was a large-scale effort, and it was something no one else wanted to undertake. The entire program was going to be dropped. After all, powers much larger had decided to abandon the idea. But the Brookses accepted the challenge. Recreation eventually moved from Penn State to Susquehanna University, and that's where I met the group. I happened to live across the hall from some of the cast members, and I kept wondering who these people were that were in and out of the building all of the time and kind of going to school but kind of performing on the weekends and things. I was really curious, so I went to see a show, and from that point, I was hooked. I stopped out of college to travel with Recreation for 2 years, and I will never forget those tours. The men and women in the VA hospitals were so enthralled by our show, but we soon learned that it was more than the program that intrigued them. Our presence is really what invigorated them, enlivened them. and we learned and trained to make sure that we were at our best every day to give the veterans everything they needed to spark the healing process, to encourage them, to provide them the very comfort that they had provided us. I left Recreation after my 2 years, earned my degrees, got married, and began my professional career in Central Illinois. I loved teaching. I still do. In the meantime, Recreation was continuing forward in its mission to America's hospitalized veterans. And on stage, they were defining the parameters of excellence for road shows. Innovations in lighting and sound, and even the group's first professionally produced audio and visual projects. People who have come through the organization have had an amazing opportunity to train in the arts. We've had quite a few cast members who have gone on to commercial success on Broadway, cruise ships, touring companies, theme parks, you name it. We've even had 2 Miss America contestants as part of our Recreation casts. The training here is unparalleled and unequaled. And you have to remember, this program was in place before reality TV set in with all of the vocal competition shows and contests. Young people really had no place to showcase their talents, and Recreation provided not only that platform, but the amazing, professional, consistent training needed to achieve success. The Recreation experience benefited the cast members in another way. We've had over 30 marriages through the organization. Couples who didn't know each other before they came to the group, who fell in love and tied the knot. We've also had a number of people who have gone on to full-time ordained ministry, volunteer work, or even service in the VA healthcare system.
College really wasn't an option for me coming right out of high school, but Recreation prepared me in ways that I never could have even hoped for. Recreation taught me the values of leadership, public speaking, and time management, and now I'm reaping the benefits of that as I go through Bible college, on to seminary, and the next phase of my life.
Recreation for me was about so much more than just performing. I saw the impact our programs had, and I wanted to do the same thing every day. Recreational therapy has allowed me to do that because I've been able to continue working with veterans and service members and giving them the same kind of love and support that they deserve. And I couldn't have done that without my time in Recreation.
Hugh Brooks and his team led Recreation through the casting of the 19th edition. In that year, it was decided there would be a reunion, and my wife and I made plans to attend. Now, I tried to keep up with Mr. Brooks as much as possible. We would often catch each other on the phone and check in. And on one particular trip back east, we decided to have lunch. We were talking about the group, reminiscing the VA program, and we soon discovered that that entire discussion of history was turning into a discussion of the future. That the upcoming reunion would actually be a transition, with his stepping down from leadership and my assuming the role of director of Recreation. This was the fall of 1993, and for the very first time, Recreation was going to change hands. What had begun as a very dynamic step of faith on the Brookses' part was soon to become my full-time responsibility and privilege. And now, here we are at our 40th anniversary. And I, of course, have my own team to thank. My wife, Mary, is our executive vocal director. She's an accomplished singer-songwriter and a representative of singing success out of Nashville, Tennessee. She provides all of the young people in the group individual and group vocal sessions, as well as being the executive producer for all of our audio recordings.
She is so great. I mean, getting to hear her sing, yes! Oh my gosh. It's so great to learn from the best, and she is the best.
Hi, my name's Carolyn Bear, and I traveled in Recreation 39. Now I live at home in Youngstown, Ohio, and I'm the lead singer in my band, Black Wolf and the Thief. People always ask me at shows about all the different styles of music that we perform and my vocal range, and I credit all my ability as a singer to the training I received in Recreation. I had always been a singer, but I will never forget my first vocal lesson with Mary Muller. She taught me how to sing in the mixed style. Something just clicked in that lesson, and I know I wouldn't be where I am today as a singer without her help and training.
Working with Mary vocally has really been everything for me. When I first came to her in Recreation, I hadn't ever really sang before, and I don't come from a musical background, so it was all very new territory for me. I just kind of had this ability, and I didn't know what to do with it. And she sat me down, and she was very patient with me, and she taught me things like vowel placement, breath support, soft palate, terms that I had never heard before. And she gave me those tools, and then over time and with practice, I've been able to turn it into what I think is a pretty cool career. So I wouldn't have been able to do it without her support and her knowledge, and I thank her very much for that.
I came to her after 4 years of operatic training as a soprano in college, in a small college in Virginia. And I knew my vibrato was a little bit out of control. She helped me to calm it down and become more marketable for directors these days. She helped me to expand my range dramatically, and now I'm so much more marketable. I've been hired by Carnival Cruise Lines. I just rolled out the newest ship of their fleet. I won that spot everyone wanted, and it's all due to her and her foundation. She's brilliant. She knows what she's talking about, and she's forever on my mind. I'm thankful for her.
And all 3 of our children have performed in the group at one time or another. They have grown up in the mission field, traveling the nation, extending care and compassion to America's heroes. And extra special thanks to the ladies who implement the mission. Jen Krotzer has been with us for over 13 years and is the first line of contact in the Recreation office. As office manager, she oversees everything that goes with the business of charity, and we couldn't thank her enough. Mary Reich actually traveled with Recreation as a performing cast member for 4 years. After that time, when we were in need of a new tour manager, I couldn't think of anyone more competent and more dedicated, and we are so blessed to have her on board. Another former cast member, Xavier Francis, is the head of Mind's Eye Music Studios and is responsible for all of our audio and video production. An amazing guy who pulls together a crew that gets us top-notch quality product, which we feel the veterans deserve. You see, we leave all of our CDs and DVDs in every VA that we visit for the patients to have for free. The men and women will use them in headphones when they're getting rehab done, or when their morale is low, they will watch the show again on in-house broadcasting systems. Those materials would not be possible without the expertise, dedication, and conscientious effort of Xavier Francis and Mind's Eye Music.
Working with the sound and audio crew is such a great opportunity, and Xavier and his crew have a really great way of easing everybody into it, but still getting the work done. And I think it helps that Xavier traveled with the group many years ago. Wait, should I say that? And I think it helped that Xavier traveled with the group back in the day. Oh no, wait, that's bad too, isn't it? And I think it helps Xavier was a performer in the group, so he understands what all the pressures are.
One of the things I'm really impressed about in working with Recreation is to watch Jay and Mary communicate with the cast members. It's amazing to see them connect with the young people. They use analogies, or they know just the way to tune in with each individual person to get them to do their best and even take them to the next level. And that's really, really impressive. You know what else is really impressive? Jay's hair. It's incredible. I mean, the guy's what, like 50 bazillion years old, and he's got hair like that? I am so jealous. Wonder why.
I was shocked at our first choreo practice. I mean, here's this guy in his early 50s doing pop, hip-hop, classical, lyrical jazz type dance, and teaching it to all of us who have never done it before.
Like me.
And me too. And making it work for all of us.
We've also had the privilege of former cast members and personal friends coming back to help teach vocals, instruct in ballet, or even endeavor in costume construction.
You know, I can work all day at my job and come home and work on these outfits. I enjoy it immensely, especially knowing they are going to our veterans to make their day.
It's really a group effort to make sure everything is channeled perfectly to present something of quality and enlivening for the men and women in the VA hospitals. And on occasion, we've invited cast members from previous years to come back to celebrate special anniversaries with new projects. things that celebrate the history and legacy of recreation. We've even invited former cast members back for special alumni tours, unique one-week programs to travel to VAs. What an amazing opportunity to step back in time and travel again with recreation. And the Brookses have never been far from the heart of America's veterans. Mr. Brooks even got his former college quartet together, and they traveled for 5 years to VA medical centers as the Singing Colonels. Joined recently on the last tour by his daughter Katie, and with Carolyn helping out at the soundboard, well, a family that had never left service was back in front of America's heroes. This anniversary, this mission, though, is about so much more than just a show. The young people of Recreation travel America in service to our nation's hospitalized veterans. Arriving to a VA facility 4 hours before showtime, the young people themselves are the ones who greet the staff and carry in all the equipment. There are no roadies, no crew. The cast members do all the work, from the setup of the sound, the lights, the costumes, to the complete staging. Once the show has been made ready, they change into bright and colorful costumes as they travel throughout the hospital to the individual rooms and wards, to bedsides and wheelchair sides, visiting with as many men and women as they can. We hand out pictures, take more pictures, and get the opportunity to give the veterans something tangible to remind them of their special day. These personal visits are just that, personal. The young people extend a sincere and genuine hand of care and compassion to the very men and women who have afforded us our freedom. Once the veterans have been engaged, they are escorted to the performance area by the cast members. Again, the young people themselves are the ones who provide a lively companionship to the show area. And then it's time for the show. A full-size stage program with all the trimmings, hundreds of costumes, elaborate staging and choreography, and the best in American music. All drawn together to create a sense of enlivening for the men and women recuperating in the VA hospitals. The young people of the group get out into the audience as much as possible during the show, and this is by far the veterans' favorite part. They don't soon forget their personal one-on-one time with one of our cast members at their wheelchair or bedside, or even sharing a dance or a song. And of course, every program ends with sincere words of patriotic thanks for the veterans' courage, duty, and sacrifice. This is often the most impacting time of the show, to share these treasured American anthems in honor and reverence of the veteran sacrifice is indeed our privilege. After the show, there's more opportunity to visit, to laugh, to share. Then, the veterans are escorted back to their rooms. The young people return to the show area, change, tear down all the equipment, load the trailer, and then drive on about 200 to 300 miles to do it all over again the very next day. The lights, the costumes, the music are all tools. The real mission is the group's work one-on-one with the men and women who have secured our nation and afforded us our freedom. The young people of the group have been cited by the Freedoms Foundation at Valley Forge as America's ambassadors to hospitalized veterans for providing the only program of its kind in America for 40 years. And all of the young people in the group are volunteers. They are not paid for their year or years of service in recreation. They come knowing that they will be giving back to the very men and women who have given so much more for our freedom. Recreation sings in every single VA Medical Center and State Veterans Home at no charge to the facility. It has been our responsibility and privilege to provide these programs on behalf of you, dedicated Americans, for these 40 years. Now, we do have some help from some national sponsors, and you can check out the special features on the DVD and learn a little bit about those folks who enable the mission in special and unique ways. But recreation must maintain work in commercial venues, churches, banquets, conventions, anywhere we can to help raise the funding and awareness in order to keep the VA program going. Recreation cast members get about 5 days off at Thanksgiving and maybe 10 at Christmas, but the rest of the time they are traveling the nation in service to America and her heroes. It is no exaggeration to tell you that a Recreation cast member will sing 320 shows in a year's time, traveling to countless wounded hearts and lives nationwide, extending that life, that joy, and that tribute. While the young people of the group are volunteers, we try to provide them what we can. When we sing in a VA, we're eating the same food the patients do. When we go to a commercial event, we make sure it's in the contract that the kids get a meal. But the fact of the matter is that they're really supporting themselves. They're missionaries in the truest sense of the word. In 1987, a group of interested Recreation followers got together and approached the Brookses about how they could help the kids individually. How could they enable the mission in direct relation to what the kids go through on a day-to-day basis? And that's how we came up with FORCES. FORCES stands for Friends of Recreation Extending Service. Folks send donations to FORCES and that money is maintained in a separate account. It is not used for the show or microphones or gas or general expenses. Right now, we have enough FORCES members that we can give the kids about $5 a meal. Now, I don't know if you think that's a lot, but it's not. We need to increase that. We need to equip the young people even more so that they can be confident when they go out on the road that they'll be able to get a healthy meal, the personal things they need to travel this nation. Living on the road is expensive, you know that. So if you're interested, please consider joining FORCES with Recreation in service to America's hospitalized veterans. Visit our website, you can sign up right online. And if you're ever at a show, feel free to talk to some of the FORCES members that are in attendance or even the young people in the group themselves. You can get a first-hand testimony to just how important your gift can be. There are so many ways you can get involved. We have a website, a smartphone app, a Facebook page. There's no reason not to be connected with this very personal mission. And there are countless opportunities to see the group at commercial venues, in churches, or even in a VA. And if you'd like to have us perform for your function or church, please just contact our office. I truly hope you've enjoyed this look back at the origins and development of Recreation. If you ever have any questions about who we are or what we do, please feel free to contact me. I'll respond immediately. And while anniversaries are a good opportunity to look back, I think it's time to look forward. Recreation provides the only continuing live therapeutic entertainment presence to America's hospitalized veterans. And this has been a service we've been providing for 40 years. With your dedication and enthusiasm to America and her people, we will continue on to serve the very brave men and women who have given us our freedom and secured our nation. Thank you.